Welcome to the Friday Five, our weekly list of 5 things you need to know about here on the Agent Survival Guide podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Ruppel, and today is August 2nd, 2024. Just 2 days into the new month, and we are starting to really think about back-to-school shopping. I've been browsing stores online with my daughter, trying to get a Pinterest board going with some of her picks to make shopping for clothing a little less stressful this year. And I came across a pretty great bargain from Target this week. I immediately had to share it with our marketing team because a lot of us have kids. So kicking off our list at number 5, Target is holding a Denim Take-Back event from August 4th through August 10th. Shoppers can bring in used denim styles and exchange them for 20% off any denim purchase with Target Circle. The event is good on every kind of denim. It's not just for kids' denim. Adults can take full advantage as well. And even better, the exchange is not limited to just jeans or even Target-branded jeans. You can exchange denim pants, skirts, jackets, shorts, etc. from any brand. It does not have to be a Target brand. The aim of the event is to keep denim out of landfills. The only requirement is that shoppers must be a Target Circle member to get the 20% off trade-in reward. Now, signing up for Target Circle is free. I highly recommend it. I've been a member since it was called Cartwheel, and I've saved a lot of money through the app. For those of you who have a Target Circle card, you'll get an additional 5% savings toward your denim purchase. My advice for an event like this, shop early to make sure you can take advantage of the best selection, and treat yourself to a Starbucks beverage before you start shopping, especially if you've got kids going into middle school or high school. Number 4. New updates for Google Maps and Waze were recently released, with the latter rolling out a new feature to coincide with the 2024 Olympics. Both apps are owned by Google, and as more time goes by, there's definitely been an increase in the amount of features the two apps share. We'll start out with Google Maps, which recently upgraded users' ability to report incidents on the app. To start out, the icons are larger, and there are more types of incidents to report. Users can now report construction, police, road closures, and speed cameras. Additionally, the app will start pushing pop-ups asking drivers to confirm incidents. Google also announced destination guidance as a feature that is coming soon to the Maps app. On the map, users will see the building they're traveling to highlighted in red, plus a path to the building's entrance, which will be marked with a green dot. And then for destinations that don't have specified parking, or maybe not enough parking, Google Maps will begin highlighting nearby parking lots. Super helpful when you're trying to park for an event and all you can find are parking lots for building tenants only. Updates are coming to Android, iOS, and cars with Google, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay. Moving on to Waze, users now have the ability to report different types of traffic cameras. When driving down to the beach this summer, I did notice that many of the traffic lights with cameras were noted. Seems like this feature builds on that functionality. And then the feature that launched with the 2024 Olympics in Paris, France, notifications about road closures for a specific event. Much of the imagery for this feature showed downtown Paris with a copious amount of closed road signs, as well as roads highlighted in red. In addition to what's shown on the map, users should receive a push notification letting them know about an event road closure near work, home, or somewhere you drove to recently. If you're a Waze user, you might get a notification for a concert, sporting events, political rallies, or other conferences and events where traffic might be either shut down or rerouted. Users can then send that same push notification they got to other family, friends, or coworkers, which is super helpful. And those Waze updates are out now for users on all platforms. Number 3. While we're on the subject of updates, I mentioned earlier this summer that there was a streaming bundle coming that would combine Disney+, Hulu, and Max all in one, and it has finally arrived. There are 2 versions to choose from, one that includes ads and one that does not. If you don't mind watching ads, you can get access to Disney+, Hulu, and Max for $16.99 a month. If you want to watch without ads, you'll pay $29.99 per month. Prior to this bundle coming out, I already had Disney Plus and Hulu with ads, which was $9.99 per month, so $10.59 with tax. I also had a subscription for Max with ads that was also $9.99 per month, so again, $10.59 with tax. Going with the bundle of the 3 streaming platforms rather than the 2 separate subscriptions I previously held will save me a little over $3 a month and almost $40 per year. So there is savings involved if you make the switch. And the process to switch everything over was pretty simple. I went to Disney Plus and added Max. So if you're taking advantage of the new bundle and you're in a similar boat as I would recommend doing the same. After I updated Disney Plus and Hulu to include Max, I logged onto my Max account and canceled that single subscription. All in all, I think the process took about 3 minutes. Very quick, super easy, and I didn't have to speak to a representative or anything like that. So if you'd like more information on how to update your accounts, we will be linking to that info in the notes. Number 2. On Wednesday this week, the Federal Open Market Committee wrapped up another rate-setting meeting. And for what feels like the first time in a long time, we got some good news. A sliver of good news, but I will take it. First and foremost, the Fed announced that they'll continue to hold interest rates where they've been since July 2023, between 5.25 and 5.5%. For this meeting, the Fed happened to have both the Consumer Price Index and the Personal Consumption Index from June 2024. It's been a little while since we looked at those numbers. And while the Consumer Price Index was up 3% year over year, there was a 0.1% decrease from May to June of 2024. The Personal Consumption Index was also up, but only by 2.5% year over year. And that particular index also showed a 0.1% decrease from May to June. So that sliver of hope I mentioned comes from those numbers and also from the committee's comments after the meeting. Quote, "The committee judges that the risks to achieving its employment and inflation goals continue to move into better balance. Inflation has eased over the past year, but remains somewhat elevated. In recent months, there has been some further progress toward the committee's 2% inflation objective." End quote. Good news, yes, but some experts were hoping that we might get more of an indication that the Fed would make a move to cut rates as early as their next meeting in mid-September. I did call it a sliver of good news for a reason, because the Fed remains cautious enough to warrant the statement that, quote, "The committee does not expect it will be appropriate to reduce the target range until it has gained greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably toward 2%, end quote. A lot can happen between now and then, and we'll keep an eye on both of these indexes in the meantime, and we will certainly report back when the Fed meets again in September. Moving on to our main story this week, our third update on unauthorized ACA plan switching, this time with changes from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services that agents should know about. Earlier this year, some ACA marketplace policyholders began reporting that their coverage had been changed without their permission. Both NPR and KFF reported on the unauthorized switching, leading CMS to address the issue with statements in April and May. CMS mentioned back in April that they were, quote, actively considering further regulatory and technological solutions, end quote. And on July 19th, 2024, CMS announced the details of those solutions, which went into effect the same day that they were announced. Agents and brokers can no longer make changes to a client's ACA enrollment on FFM platforms unless they are previously associated with the account. So if you are not the agent of record on the account, you will not be able to make changes to an ACA enrollment on FFM platforms in the same way that you used to make those changes. And the change applies to all agent-assisted enrollment applications across all enrollment platforms in the FFM. Even if you have the name, date of birth, and the state of residency of the client, you will not be able to make changes. The system will prevent National Producer Number or NPN switches as well. So, how do you perform a plan switch for an FFM client with a different agent of record? First, if you submit an update to an enrollment and your NPN is not associated with the enrollment, you'll get an error message from CMS. To change the agent of record, there needs to be a three-way phone call between the marketplace call center, the client, and the agent to verify both the authenticity of the plan change and the client's consent for the change. For a quicker resolution, clients can also make the change themselves in Health Sherpa, and you can help them make that update. To help a client via Health Sherpa, simply make policy updates as you normally would. But before submitting the updates, or when you encounter that error message, send the consumer their in-progress application by finding them in your client list and copying the resume link. Then ask the consumer to use the resume link to complete any additional updates and submit the application. Couple additional things I want to mention here. First, the number for the Marketplace call center is 1-800-318-2596, and we will have that in the episode notes. As you're going through ACA enrollments, make sure you're allowing extra time to complete this step, especially as we move into enrollment season and things start to get busy. As more phone calls come in, hold times will likely increase. So if you plan for that ahead of time, you won't get blindsided by it, and you won't have to shift around appointments on your calendar. If you're an agency owner and you've been having the first available broker help with client changes, unfortunately, that strategy will no longer work. The original writing agent will need to be the one requesting the change, whether it's through Health Sherpa or on that three-way phone call. We recently updated our blog post on unauthorized ACA plan switching to include all of this new information, so we'll be linking to that in the episode notes. We'll also have the links to the official CMS press releases we mentioned, and those also include the Marketplace call center number and several links to enrollment platforms. Something else to keep in mind, we've got a few ACA-related webinars coming up that you might be interested in attending. We're also holding our first ever ACA Summit this fall. We will have a link to learn all about our upcoming events in the episode notes as well. Special thanks to our Under 65 Health Manager, Danica, for her take on what these changes mean for agents and agencies. If you work with us for Under 65 products, you have likely talked with Danica or a member of her team. If you have questions around this new change, please reach out to us. We would love to be able to help answer those questions. That is all we have for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay healthy and stay safe out there, and we will see you next week. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an integrity company. This episode was written and produced by me, Sarah Ruppel, script editing and fact check by Tina Lamoureux, Podcast designed by Urban Rivera. Artwork by Vivian Zhao. Follow along with us wherever you like to listen.